You mentioned that you've gotten a positive pregnancy test result, a light positive, and then a negative, and you're wondering what's going on, and I can understand why you're confused with all those conflicting results. The most important thing to take from this is the fact that you have had a positive result. That in and of itself is enough reason to call your doctor and let them know what you've been seeing, and based on their ability to ask you more specific questions and to even perform an exam, they'll decide if another test is necessary. They'll likely bring you into the office, have you do another urine test, and based on those results, they'll be able to settle this for you once and for all. Here's a little bit about how home pregnancy tests work versus blood tests and how it's all related to HCG, or the hormone that the test is detecting. So when you get pregnant, your body starts to release a hormone called human chorionic gonadotropin, or HCG. And these levels rise exponentially until around 8 to 11 weeks gestation when they peak. Levels don't go up and then down and then up and then down. They should be on an upwards curve. A home urine pregnancy test is detecting that in the urine, and this usually can't be detected until 2 weeks from conception. It's not high enough until that point. But a blood test is more sensitive and can usually detect pregnancy as early as about a week after conception. And of course, a urine test only gives you a positive or a negative. A light positive doesn't mean that HCG levels are necessarily low or anything like that. But a blood test can tell you either positive or negative, but a doctor can also order a more specific test that actually gives you an HCG level. And if they suspect that there might be complications with the pregnancy, they'll typically do a blood draw on one day, and then 2 days later, draw your blood again and compare the results. And the HCG levels should be climbing. If they're not climbing fast enough, they're staying the same, or they're going backwards, then complications are suspected. Now for you, if you are actually pregnant, then there are a few things that could affect your results. For one, it's the timing in relation to conception. So I mentioned before that the soonest a home pregnancy test can detect HCG in the urine is about 2 weeks from conception. So if a woman takes the test too early or too soon, then it's very possible that she's seeing false negatives. And so the best rule of thumb is to wait until your period should start, and then if it doesn't, then it's time to take a test. But even if that one's negative, if you haven't started bleeding, in another 5 to 7 days, it's best to retest again and see what that result is, just in case the first was taken a little bit too early. Another factor that can affect pregnancy test results is the time of day that you take the test, especially in the early weeks when you're just kind of on that border of the test being able to read positive or negative anyway. Urine is most concentrated in the morning, so it's best to take a home pregnancy test first thing in the morning. If you take it later in the day when your urine is more dilute, especially if you had a lot to drink or something, it's possible to get a false negative or even a lighter positive. Because remember, it's just detecting the presence of HCG. A third factor that can affect things is when you read the pregnancy test results. The manufacturers of most home pregnancy tests say that you should read it within like a 3 to 5 minute window. And if you read it outside of those parameters, then those results aren't reliable. So some girls let it sit on the toilet. Initially it was negative, and then they come back like an hour or two later and it looks slightly positive. Those results can't be relied upon, and a pregnancy test should be repeated in another 5 to 7 days to see what the results actually are. Again, the best thing for you, I think, is just to go to your doctor, let them know what you've seen, and they'll decide if further tests are necessary. I hope the best for you, and if you have more questions for me in the future, please feel free to ask them on our Facebook page at facebook.com/Intermountain Moms, and recommend us to your friends and family too.